In 1944, Olivia De Havilland made a bold move that would shake Hollywood to its core. Under a long-term contract with Warner Brothers, many would have believed she had no chance of challenging the system that kept actors at the mercy of studio heads. But Olivia wasn't like most. In a groundbreaking legal battle, she sued Warner Brothers and won. What many didn't know, however, was that this victory was just the beginning of Olivia's career-long rebellion against the forces of Hollywood. Beneath the surface of the sweet, demure actress lay a woman who defied the rules, outsmarting an industry that thought it had her figured out. From explosive family feuds to a secretive affair with Howard Hughes, Olivia's life was anything but the picture-perfect Hollywood dream. Today, we reveal the untold truth about the woman who outmaneuvered Tinseltown for over 70 years. Born on July 1st, 1916 in Tokyo, Japan, Olivia's early years were far from the typical Hollywood upbringing. Her British parents, Walter and Lillian, had relocated to Japan for work. Walter was a professor and patent attorney, while Lillian, a former actress, had left her career behind to raise a family. The couple settled in a grand Western-style house amidst the traditional Japanese homes where Olivia grew up. The serenity of temple bells, the gentle bloom of cherry blossoms, and the comforting rituals of British tea steeped her childhood in a blend of cultures. But beneath this idyllic surface, the cracks in her parents' marriage were already showing. Walter was rumored to be unfaithful, and Lillian struggled with the isolation of living in a foreign land. Tensions mounted, and when Walter suggested sending Olivia to live with a Japanese family to better understand the culture, Lillian refused. She chose to leave Japan instead. In 1919, Olivia and her younger sister Joan secretly boarded a ship to San Francisco, leaving Walter behind for good. Life in California was no easier for the De Havilland sisters. Lillian, now a single mother, was left to support her family in a new country. She found work teaching drama, using her own acting background to help her daughters. Olivia, inspired by her mother's lessons, developed a deep passion for performing. She began to shine in school productions, and when she was 14, she was cast as the lead in a school production of Alice in Wonderland. For Olivia, the stage was her sanctuary. It was where she felt most alive, free from the constraints of everyday life. But not everyone shared her enthusiasm. Her stepfather, George Fontaine, dismissed her aspirations, calling acting a waste of time. When he gave her an ultimatum, quit acting or leave the house, Olivia made a bold choice. She left. At just 15, Olivia moved in with family friends, continuing to pursue her passion for acting in local theater. Her perseverance soon paid off. At 18, she played the role of Hermia in a local production of A Midsummer Night's Dream. Among the audience that night was an assistant to renowned director Max Reinhardt, who was scouting for talent for an upcoming Hollywood Bowl production of the same play. Impressed by Olivia's performance, the assistant offered her a role as second understudy for the part of Hermia. Just days before the premiere, both the lead actress and the first understudy dropped out, leaving Olivia to step into the role. Her performance was nothing short of magical, and Reinhardt, impressed by her talent, included her in the tour that followed. Olivia's luck didn't stop there. When Reinhardt was hired to direct a film version of A Midsummer Night's Dream for Warner Brothers, he wasted no time in casting Olivia as Hermia. Though initially hesitant to make the leap to film, Olivia's fate had already been sealed. Hollywood, it seemed, was about to become her stage, and she was determined to leave her mark. What followed was not just the start of her successful film career, but a life lived on her own terms, a life where she would consistently challenge the Hollywood machine that sought to control her. Olivia De Havilland's dream wasn't initially to become a Hollywood icon, it was to be a teacher. But fate had a different plan for her. In 1935, director Max Reinhardt and a Warner Brothers producer convinced the young actress to sign a 5-year contract, offering her $200 a week. While it wasn't a fortune, it was the first step into a world that would transform her life forever. Hollywood, however, was no easy place for a newcomer. Even her early screen tests were full of hurdles. During her first audition for A Midsummer Night's Dream, the dress she wore didn't fit properly and almost fell apart. Olivia had to pin it together herself just to make it through the audition. Then there was her voice. The studio executives thought it sounded too soft, too slow, and insisted she take lessons to make it sound more American. Despite their efforts, nothing seemed to work. Fortunately, Reinhardt, who had discovered her, liked her voice just the way it was, and in the end, that authenticity would become one of Olivia's most memorable qualities. Her big break came in 1935 with the film version of A Midsummer Night's Dream. The production was grand, with an enormous budget and a star-studded premiere. Olivia, nervously stepping onto the red carpet, even tripped on her dress. Yet, once the film hit theaters, her performance impressed critics and audiences alike, cementing her place in Hollywood. But the real turning point came when Olivia was paired with the rising star Errol Flynn in Captain Blood. She was only 19, while Flynn, just 26, was still relatively unknown. At the last minute, Flynn was cast after another actor dropped out. Though he had little acting experience, Warner Brothers took a gamble, and from the moment the cameras started rolling, the chemistry between Olivia and Flynn was undeniable. Their natural chemistry and playful energy on screen captivated audiences, making Captain Blood an instant success. The film grossed over $1.35 million, an impressive feat for the time. Olivia and Flynn's pairing became the gold standard for on-screen chemistry. Over the next 6 years, they would star in 8 films together, creating one of Hollywood's most iconic partnerships. In 1938, they starred in The Adventures of Robin Hood, where Olivia played Maid Marian and Flynn took on the role of Robin Hood. Shot in vibrant Technicolor, the film was a massive success, earning $4 million at the box office and winning 3 Academy Awards. Their undeniable chemistry ensured they would remain one of Hollywood's most beloved duos. But despite their on-screen success, there was an unspoken tension between them. Olivia later admitted to having a crush on Flynn, but he was married at the time, and their connection remained strictly professional. Their on-screen partnership, however, was electric, and it kept audiences coming back for more. Their final film together, They Died with Their Boots On, 1941, ended on a poignant note, with Flynn's character telling Olivia, "Walking through life with you, ma'am, has been a very gracious thing." The line felt like a farewell, not just to their characters, but to their legendary collaboration as well. While Olivia thrived in her films with Flynn, she wasn't content to rest on her laurels. She had bigger ambitions. Her dream role was Melanie Hamilton in Gone with the Wind, 1939. But Warner Brothers was initially unwilling to loan her out to the film's producers. Olivia, however, wasn't the type to give up easily. Instead of waiting for a break, she took matters into her own hands. She personally reached out to Ann Warner, the wife of studio head Jack Warner, and convinced her to help secure the role. Thanks to Ann's influence, Olivia won the coveted part, and her portrayal of Melanie Hamilton became one of the defining performances of her career, solidifying her status as one of the greatest actresses of her generation. From there, Olivia De Havilland's career exploded, and she would go on to become one of the most influential stars in Hollywood history, an icon who fought for her place on her own terms, never content to be controlled by the studios. Through her battles, triumphs, and unforgettable roles, Olivia would continue to outsmart the Hollywood machine and redefine what it meant to be a leading lady. When Gone with the Wind premiered, it quickly became a cultural phenomenon, grossing over $32 million, a staggering amount for its time. Olivia De Havilland's portrayal of the kind and gentle Melanie Hamilton earned her an Oscar nomination for Best Supporting Actress. Though she didn't win, the recognition solidified her as one of Hollywood's top talents and signaled that she was more than just Errol Flynn's co-star. She was a force in her own right. Following the immense success of Gone with the Wind, Olivia's career soared to new heights. She was no longer relegated to innocent roles, but began to take on more complex, challenging characters. One of her most notable performances came in 1941's Hold Back the Dawn, where she earned another Oscar nomination, this time for Best Actress. Though she lost to her sister Joan Fontaine, Olivia had firmly established herself as a powerhouse in Hollywood. By the early 1940s, Olivia De Havilland was one of the highest-paid stars in the industry, earning an impressive $400,000 a year, a small fortune for the time. But as her fame grew, so did her frustration. Hollywood studios held immense power over their stars, controlling not only the roles they took on, but also their public appearances and, in some cases, their personal lives. If an actor refused to comply with the studio's demands, they were punished. For Olivia, this meant being suspended without pay whenever she turned down a role. What made matters worse was that these suspensions didn't just cost her wages, they also added extra time to her contract, keeping her under the studio's control far longer than originally agreed. From 1939 to 1943, Olivia spent 25 weeks suspended. One notable instance occurred in 1942 when she refused to star in Gentleman Jim. The role was reassigned to another actress, yet Warner Brothers extended Olivia's contract anyway. She also lost other significant roles, including parts in The Gay Sisters and George Washington Slept Here. The constant battles with the studio left her feeling trapped, and by 1943, Olivia had had enough. Warner Brothers claimed that Olivia still owed them 6 months of work due to the suspension time she had accumulated. But Olivia wasn't about to let the studio push her around any longer. With the help of her lawyer, Martin Gang, she discovered an old California law that stated no contract for personal services could last more than 7 years. No actor had ever used this law against a Hollywood studio, but Olivia was ready to take the risk. In August 1943, she made the bold decision to sue Warner Brothers. This was an unprecedented move, and one that came with immense personal and professional risk. Olivia couldn't work during the lawsuit, so she lived off her savings and spent her time volunteering at military hospitals, visiting wounded soldiers. Warner Brothers did everything they could to paint her as spoiled and ungrateful, but Olivia remained calm and composed. When questioned in court about whether she had refused to work, she famously replied, "I didn't refuse. I declined." Her grace under pressure impressed everyone, and in March 1944, the court ruled in her favor, siding with Olivia and declaring that Warner Brothers could not extend her contract beyond 7 years. The studio appealed, but in December 1944, the California Court of Appeals upheld the decision, marking a monumental victory for Olivia and setting a new precedent in the entertainment industry. The case not only freed Olivia from the constraints of her contract, but also helped establish a legal framework for future actors to fight for their rights against the powerful studios that dominated Hollywood. Olivia De Havilland had just outsmarted one of the most powerful forces in Hollywood, and in doing so, she not only reclaimed control over her own career, but also changed the landscape of the entertainment industry for generations to come. Olivia De Havilland's landmark victory against Warner Brothers was more than just a personal triumph, it became a game-changer in Hollywood. The studio's actions were not only unfair, but Olivia herself likened them to slavery. When the California Supreme Court refused to take up the case, her victory became final, marking a pivotal moment in the history of Hollywood. For years, studios had held complete control over their actors, dictating everything from roles to personal lives. Olivia's legal battle shattered that monopoly, and her win meant that no studio could bind an actor to a contract beyond 7 years, regardless of circumstances. This newfound freedom allowed actors to make their own choices, negotiate better deals, and secure more autonomy over their careers. Her victory also inspired future generations. In 1979, Olivia Newton-John leveraged the same law to free herself from a restrictive recording contract with MCA Records. Though Olivia De Havilland's lawsuit kept her off the screen for 2 years, it didn't tarnish her career. When she returned to Hollywood in 1946, she did so with a powerful comeback. She starred in To Each His Own, playing Jodie Norris, a young woman who falls in love, has a child out of wedlock, and ultimately gives him up for adoption. The film traced Jodie's life from her hopeful teenage years to a wiser, older woman filled with both regret and strength. Olivia's portrayal of this complex character was so moving that she won her first Academy Award for Best Actress in 1947. This Oscar win was monumental, not just for the recognition of her talent, but as a testament to the value of her struggle for better, more substantial roles in Hollywood. She had proven that her fight for creative freedom and her determination to break free from studio constraints had been worth it. Olivia's next big challenge came in 1948 with The Snake Pit, a groundbreaking film that exposed the grim reality of mental illness and psychiatric hospitals. Olivia played Virginia Cunningham, a woman suffering from mental illness who finds herself locked away in a psychiatric institution without remembering how she got there. The film depicted the overcrowded, inhumane conditions of these facilities, and Olivia took the role to heart. She spent time in mental hospitals observing patients and even underwent a simulated electroshock therapy session to understand her character's pain. Her performance was haunting, gripping, and emotionally raw, leaving a lasting impact on audiences and critics alike. The Snake Pit didn't just make waves in Hollywood. It spurred real-world change. It brought attention to the inadequate conditions of mental health care, and its success prompted legislative changes in 13 states, improving the lives of countless individuals living in psychiatric institutions. Critics were full of praise, and Olivia was honored with the prestigious Volpe Cup at the Venice Film Festival for her performance. Though some critics argued the film exaggerated conditions, there was no denying its importance. It solidified Olivia De Havilland as one of the greatest actresses of her generation. But Olivia was far from content with just playing the same types of roles. In 1949, she took on one of her most challenging performances yet in The Heiress. In this film, Olivia played Catherine Sloper, a shy and awkward young woman living in 1840s New York. To transform into this character, Olivia underwent a complete physical and emotional transformation, gaining weight and changing her hairstyle to fit the role. On set, she found herself caught between the contrasting acting styles of her co-stars, Ralph Richardson, who adhered to a traditional method, and Montgomery Clift, who employed the more emotional, intense method style. Olivia felt torn but used the tension between the two to bring a raw authenticity to Catherine's emotional struggles. When The Heiress was released, both critics and audiences responded with enthusiasm. At the 1950 Oscars, Olivia won her second Academy Award for Best Actress, cementing her place as one of Hollywood's greatest stars. In her brief acceptance speech, she thanked director William Wyler and then left the stage. Her win was not only an acknowledgement of her immense talent, but also a sign that her career had reached its zenith. Olivia De Havilland was no longer just a star. She was a living legend. After The Heiress, Olivia could have easily settled into glamorous or predictable roles. But she didn't. She refused to be typecast and continued to seek out complex, challenging roles that allowed her to demonstrate her versatility and depth as an actress. Olivia De Havilland's journey was not just about being a star in the traditional sense. It was about fighting for her freedom, carving her own path in an industry that sought to control her, and ultimately proving that she was one of the finest actresses to ever grace the screen. Olivia De Havilland's career was defined by her unrelenting pursuit of depth and complexity in the roles she chose. She wasn't content with playing the conventional leading lady. She wanted characters that were challenging and multidimensional. In 1952, she starred in My Cousin Rachel, portraying a mysterious woman whose true nature was shrouded in ambiguity. She could be both kind and malevolent. Olivia made sure her performance left the audience in suspense, questioning the character's intentions. To fully understand her role, she read the novel multiple times, diving deep into the character's psyche. This meticulous attention to detail became a hallmark of Olivia's approach to acting, demonstrating her commitment to offering nuanced performances. The years that followed saw Olivia embracing increasingly unique roles. She tackled sensitive issues with grace, taking on characters who dealt with mental health struggles, such as in The Ambassador's Daughter and Light in the Piazza. These performances further cemented her reputation as an actress who could handle complex, often difficult subjects with the utmost care and sensitivity. Olivia's talent wasn't confined to the big screen either. She ventured into television, starring in live dramas and later earning critical acclaim for her role in the 1986 miniseries Anastasia, The Mystery of Anna, a project that garnered her prestigious awards. Even as she grew older, Olivia's commitment to her craft never waned. She was not interested in settling into comfortable or predictable roles, turning down offers that didn't ignite her passion. Perhaps most famously, she rejected the role of Blanche Dubois in A Streetcar Named Desire, a part that many would have eagerly accepted. She also shocked audiences with her daring choice to star in Lady in a Cage, a psychological thriller from 1964 that pushed boundaries and stirred controversy. Critics were divided, but Olivia's powerful performance was universally praised. Throughout her career, she refused to take the easy path, determined to prove that she was far more than just a beautiful face. Her bold choices and unwavering dedication to her craft solidified her as one of the most respected and talented actresses of her generation. However, it wasn't just her professional life that was marked by competition and rivalry. Olivia's relationship with her younger sister, Joan, was one of the most contentious and dramatic sibling dynamics in Hollywood history. Born just 15 months apart, the two girls were pitted against each other from an early age. Olivia, often described as the pretty one, and Joan, dubbed the smart one, found themselves constantly compared. This rivalry escalated throughout their childhood, with their stepfather, George Fontaine, exacerbating the tension by turning their home life into a competition for attention and approval. In fact, the jealousy between the sisters was so intense that, at one point, Olivia reportedly pushed Joan into a pool, breaking her collarbone. Joan, in turn, later admitted that as a child she had contemplated taking revenge on Olivia. By the time they reached adulthood, their rivalry was far from over. Both sisters harbored dreams of becoming actresses, but their mother insisted that only one could pursue acting professionally. As the older sister, Olivia had the first opportunity, but Joan quickly followed, determined to prove she could match Olivia's talent. This competition grew fiercer as the years went on, and by the time Joan was 16, she had had enough of living in Olivia's shadow. She moved to Tokyo to live with their biological father, hoping to escape the pressure. However, when Joan returned to the U.S. 2 years later, their rivalry reignited. Joan, now a confident young woman, was ready to take on Hollywood. Their professional rivalry reached new heights in 1939, when Olivia starred in Gone with the Wind, a role that solidified her place as a major Hollywood star. Meanwhile, Joan landed the lead role in Alfred Hitchcock's Rebecca in 1940, a part that Olivia had coveted. The tension between them grew even more palpable as they both vied for similar roles and recognition. Their rivalry reached a boiling point in 1941 when both sisters were nominated for the Academy Award for Best Actress. Olivia was nominated for Hold Back the Dawn, while Joan was up for Suspicion. On Oscar night, all eyes were on the two sisters. When Joan's name was called as the winner, the tension in the room was unmistakable. Rumors swirled that Olivia refused to congratulate her younger sister, and the animosity between them only deepened. The sisters' feud continued to play out in public. But despite their fierce competition, both Olivia and Joan went on to achieve legendary status in Hollywood. While their rivalry defined much of their personal and professional lives, it also shaped the legacy of two of Hollywood's most iconic actresses. Their relationship with Howard Hughes and Jimmy Stewart was very different. Both had significant impacts on Olivia's personal life, giving us a glimpse of her off-screen character. Her brief yet intense relationship with Howard Hughes in the late 1930s has become the stuff of Hollywood legend. The eccentric billionaire was known for his extravagant gestures, and his courtship of Olivia was no different. One of the most memorable moments came when Hughes, in a bid to impress Olivia, landed his private plane on a beach near her house. He also showered her with expensive gifts, including a stunning 5-carat emerald engagement ring. But despite his efforts, the relationship quickly soured. Olivia found Hughes to be excessively controlling and believed he was spying on her. She even suspected he had tapped her phone, an invasion of privacy that pushed her to the brink. The final straw came after Hughes suffered a serious car accident, and he blamed Olivia for not accompanying him to the dentist, claiming that was the reason for the accident. In a bold and unforgettable move, Olivia ended the relationship right then and there, returning all of his gifts, including the emerald ring, while he lay in his hospital room. It was a stunning display of her strength and independence, marking the end of a turbulent chapter in her personal life. However, the next romantic chapter in Olivia's life was far more sweet and simple. In the late 1930s, she began dating the charming Jimmy Stewart, one of Hollywood's most beloved leading men. Their relationship was refreshingly down-to-earth compared to many Hollywood romances of the time. Jimmy, a skilled pilot, even took Olivia flying and gave her lessons. She adored the experience, enjoying the thrill of flying and admiring Jimmy's expertise. The two made an idyllic couple, but their relationship ultimately came to an end in 1941. As both of their careers soared, Jimmy enlisted in the military as World War II loomed on the horizon, and their paths naturally diverged. Though their romance was short-lived, the bond they shared during that time left a lasting impression on Olivia, and their relationship was remembered as one of the more genuine and enjoyable in her life. Despite her Hollywood fame and numerous personal relationships, it was clear that Olivia's heart was rooted in her independence and fierce determination to live life on her own terms. Whether it was standing up to studios, ending toxic relationships, or simply taking a step back from the glitz and glamour of Hollywood to reflect on her own journey, Olivia De Havilland showed the world what it meant to be an icon in the truest sense of the word. In her later years, Olivia's legacy extended beyond her on-screen work, showcasing her remarkable resilience and significant influence on Hollywood. She remains a rare figure whose story inspires future generations of actors and fans. Olivia's personal life revealed a deep dedication to her loved ones, displaying remarkable empathy despite her own struggles. Her tumultuous affair with director John Huston, which began during the filming of In This Our Life in 1941, turned heads in Hollywood. Huston was already married, adding scandal to their undeniable chemistry. Their passionate relationship was marked by intense highs and lows, including a violent altercation at a party involving her former co-star, Errol Flynn, leaving both men injured. After divorcing her controlling husband, Marcus Goodrich, in 1953, Olivia became devoted entirely to her son, Benjamin, striving to provide a stable home. Later, she found love with Pierre Gallant, marrying him in 1955 after a romantic encounter at the Cannes Film Festival. Despite the challenges of their relationship, including differences in lifestyle and careers, they maintained a close friendship and co-parented their daughter, Giselle, even after their separation in 1962, reflecting mutual respect for their bond. Olivia De Havilland's commitment to her family was strikingly evident during Pierre's illness in the 1990s, as she took on the role of caretaker until his death in 1998. This dedication reflected her loyalty and generosity, which perhaps defined her personal life more than her illustrious career. Amid life's challenges, Olivia never allowed herself to be solely defined by her relationships or roles. Instead, she established a legacy as a Hollywood icon and a woman of independence and emotional intelligence. Her passionate relationships and unwavering values showcased her integrity. Despite numerous accolades, including an honorary award from the Academy in 2008 and a Golden Globe, Olivia remained humble and emphasized personal values and family devotion over fame. Living in Paris allowed her privacy and the ability to savor life's quiet moments. Her passing in 2020 at 104 marked the end of an era, as she was the last surviving star from Hollywood's golden age. The classic films she starred in endure as tributes to her talent and beauty. Olivia's life embodied resilience and dignity, inspiring generations as a fierce advocate for actors' rights and an unmatched actress whose influence will last indefinitely. Olivia De Havilland's recognition reflects her remarkable journey as a gifted actress and a champion for actors' rights. Her groundbreaking legal battle with Warner Brothers in the 1940s reshaped Hollywood, ensuring actors had freedom from restrictive studio contracts and the ability to choose their careers. This pivotal moment marked a significant shift in the film industry. Throughout her life, Olivia demonstrated unwavering commitment to her craft, principles, and family. Even in her later years, she inspired younger generations, showcasing that true strength arises from both talent and character. The honors she received from France and Queen Elizabeth II celebrated not just her career, but her lasting legacy as an internationally respected artist. Her impact as an actress is solidified through her performances in classic films and her vital role in transforming Hollywood. Spanning decades, her career positioned her as a trailblazer whose influence resonates today. Even after her passing in 2020, audiences continue to celebrate her contributions and the legacy she forged for aspiring actors. Olivia's story serves as a poignant reminder that true greatness is measured not merely by accolades, but by the profound impact on the industry and the world.